Today's scripture treasure, Mark 7 verse 8. You leave the commandment of Elohim and hold to the tradition of men. Welcome to another edition of the LKP Treasure Trove. While there are many scripture passages that encourage or instruct us to be thankful, mainly to Yah, the day of Thanksgiving is supposedly connected to American history, and not the happy, peaceful version we've been handed for generations. In fact, the Thanksgiving Day events we've been told are all lies, and the servants of Yah have no business memorializing this day. It is simply another pagan day that is meant to replace Yah's true feast days, which we are commanded to memorialize. In today's story, Shanice will speak about these very truths. Traditions of men. The car door slammed outside and, moments later, Shanice was bounding up the front steps and ringing her own doorbell, travel bag in hand. Her mom opened the door and waved to the driver of the car that dropped Shanice off. The driver was Aunt Mavis, the sister of Shanice's dad. Aunt Mavis drove off when Shanice went inside the house. "So, did you have a good time over at your aunt's house?" asked Mom as she helped Shanice with her bag. "I sure did," Shanice said, beaming with excitement. "We went to this slavery museum and she told me a lot about our history and culture. It was great." Mom seemed disinterested when she turned toward the steps and headed upstairs. "That's nice, dear. Now get ready to help me in the kitchen. Thanksgiving dinner is in an hour." "But I wasn't finished telling you about my time at Aunt Mavis's house," Shanice said, disappointed. "You can tell us all about it at dinner," Mom replied. When the table was finally set, Dad came down in a fancy suit and tie and took his place at the head of the table. Shanice's brother, Elvin, sat directly across from her. When Mom sat down next to Shanice, everyone bowed their heads and Dad said grace, Thanksgiving being the only time Shanice ever saw him pray. "I'll carve the turkey," Dad said to everyone's delight. Well, everyone except Shanice. Just as Dad was about to slice into the turkey with a carving knife, Mom noticed the unhappy expression on Shanice's face. "Wait a moment, sweetheart," Mom said to Dad, and then she asked Shanice, "What's with the angry face?" All eyes were on Shanice when she said, "Thanksgiving isn't part of our history or traditions. In fact, Aunt Mavis showed me in a book that Thanksgiving isn't even what they say it is. What they celebrated on the first Thanksgiving in 1637 was nothing like Thanksgiving today. Back then, a Massachusetts governor, John Winthrop, ordered the first Thanksgiving to mark the return of some heavily armed hunters who had just come back from a long journey to Connecticut, where they killed 700 Native Americans, including women and children. That's what they celebrated. Now, I don't want to dishonor you and Dad, but may I be excused from the table? I no longer celebrate this day. We're not supposed to follow the traditions and customs of these heathen nations, including American traditions. It says so in our scriptures." Dad decided to add his thoughts. "Now, you know we don't agree with you, Shanice, but we respect your decision. You're excused. Now, what about you? Are you willing to stand up for the truth and keep the law of Yah rather than the traditions of men? This may mean you'll have to do it all alone, since many of your family members and friends won't agree with your decision. Yah has given us feast days to keep and honor each year, but the nations have replaced those feast days with their own pagan customs, which many people in the world have adopted. But that doesn't mean we have to keep those days."
Download this Treasure Trove story as a podcast on our website. And look for more stories in this and other exciting scripture-based series on our website as well. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.